Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Friday, and it's a Friday night special because we've been streaming Friday lunchtimes, but today we're streaming back in the regular time slot. Hello to all of our regulars, our chasers in the chat, some new faces, I'm sure, as well, and my co-host, who is on a wild card this week, Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
Yes, mate. How do I feel about this wild card? I feel nervous about this wild card, to be honest. I'm trying to be a little bit different with it. I've realised I've got a good opportunity here because when everyone played their wild card a couple of weeks ago, things have gone a little bit haywire since then with things like the Tottenham injury debacle. So there's an opportunity here if I get it right. And yeah, I've got a lot to talk about when we get there. I've put together a draft of sorts for where my mind is at, but by no means do I have this set down. I think it's going to be, I can see me sat on the sofa till about midnight tonight, like tinkering with this.
I look forward to seeing your final locked version. But in the chat tonight, hopefully we'll be able to influence Dean on some of those decisions as well. But by wildcarding now and not when everyone else did it between game week 8 and 10, you're ahead of the curve in respect that some of the moves that we would have made then we wouldn't make now. For example, back in game week 8, 9, 10, we were all going, we need triple Villa, great run of games. Now, if you're wildcarding this week, you might go, I might need Villa cover, but their games are about to take a nosedive. Yeah, they got one or two, so you might just go single Villa. Arsenal, back when we wildcarded, didn't have great fixtures. Now they do. Liverpool even more so. So there's that little shift there, which I quite like for you. So yeah, we'll show your wildcard team later, and we'll then after that show the chaser team. And if you are new to Chasing Green Arrows, the chaser team is your team. So we'll show you how we're looking for this week. And I've had a sneak peek. We're well set. You guys might decide to make a transfer. We'll ask you that question in a poll. And as always, we will be polling who should be your captain. Now, last week, the chasers went Darwin. I think it was the right call. Like, Haaland blanked and Salah blanked anyway. But Darwin, in terms of like the big chances he got, and if you'd watched all three of those performances, you would have gone, Darwin's the guy that's dodged the most points this week. So unlucky there, chasers. But good to see Heather's in the chat and Mark. Langani's there.
Yeah.
Ape, hello to you. It's nice. I reckon we'll probably get some of our old chasers tonight, Dean, do you reckon?
I think so, yeah. A few people seem happy with the time that we're streaming tonight. I have to say, one risk of this time of night is that I've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that usually are wild right now. Like, that is one thing that I'm very aware of in the background. It is the witching hour. And trust me, when I say that can be chaos, that can be absolute chaos. So apologies in advance for anything you might hear in the background in the next hour, including my wife shouting at them. So we'll leave that there and see how things go. But yeah, loads of people jumping in the chat right now, and definitely some familiar faces cropping back up.
We know we've got a bit of a core audience in Asia, but in the Americas as well. So when we stream around midday, it's great for those in Asia and not so good for those in North America. When we do this time slot, we get the likes of Punter going, yeah, better time for Canadians now. And CH would probably say similar. So good that we can mix it up a little bit. Hey, Rayma. Hey, Caleb. Don't see your names too often. Rayma says, finally AM on time. Make sure you're subscribing if you are new around here. And also, guys, thanks for hitting the like button already. Some of you have. I'd love us to get to 100 likes before the show is out. That's always our target. But look, it's been a busy day. Loads of press conferences. There's some big news and there's been some big quotes. We can read into some of them. Some of them are a little bit vague. But we'll have updates on the likes of Saka and Nketiah. Trossard we'll talk about. There's big FPL picks. Newcastle centre-backs and defenders in general. So let's move on now to Fresh Off the Press.
Yeah, Tottenham is where we will be starting. The news that James Maddison and Mickey van der Ven out until the new year. Like, terrible news for Tottenham and terrible news for a lot of FPL teams who would have had at least one of those. You know, Madders obviously in a lot of teams, but Van der Ven has been a very good player so far this season. Those two out for a while. Obviously, Romero and Udogie also out for this game week. I mean, absolutely rocks them, no doubt about it. Now, I spoke to a few people who are around the Tottenham situation, a couple of them that watching a lot of the youth games, a couple that are just like well linked to the team, because I've been trying to find out like what's going to happen here. And I think obviously Eric Dyer's like almost certain to start, but like
4.2 million Eric Dyer for a long-term hold. 4.2.
4.2, and I mean that is. I think here's the thing. I don't think Tottenham will drop off that much. I really don't think they will. It's almost worth a risk.
Even without Mads.
Yeah,
I get it with the centre backs, but even without Mads, you reckon that'd still just be fun? Like
they will. They are not going to
Yeah.
change. He's made that very clear, and he will have been working week in, week out. And the players that haven't been involved have still been playing in the same way, and have to come in now and make the most of this. If Ange Postecoglou thinks they can get away with playing this style of football, who are we to doubt him? Like the bloke's come into the Premier League, he's absolutely smashed it. And I see people questioning this and that. People, we don't know anything about football compared to what Ange Postecoglou does. So let's see. Let's do an eye test on it this weekend and see what comes out in the wash. The players in contention to start along Eric Dyer, Ashley Phillips, 18-year-old, 4.0 for signed from Blackburn, does have some senior behind him at Blackburn in the first team.
Oh, he's the next Phil Jones.
Yeah, he kind of is. Like, he's a really good player. Physically, good. The other guy, Alfie Dorrington, that a lot of Spurs fans have been talking about, get him in. A lot of those have been saying. Now, I'm told he's actually a better footballer than Ashley Phillips. But as one coach said to me, throwing an 18-year-old into a team at centre-back is pretty much the biggest risk you can take as a football manager. It's, if you've got if you've got a crisis on the wing and you bring in an 18-year-old winger,
even fullback, but not centre-back or goalkeeper.
It's like the worst spot. Yeah, goalkeeper or centre-back is like the worst spot to take a risk.
Because even up front, you just go, just go wild, like just do it. And we saw it with like, I don't know, Marcada or Michael Owen or Rooney.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, a lot of people were expecting Højbjerg to start centre-back.
Are they? Interesting. So it'd be Højbjerg.
Davis is getting a few shouts, but I spoke to one coach in particular who knows his stuff, especially around Tottenham, but he's also a football coach. And he was like, look, just in like basics of coaching and what you're told to do, what your instincts do in a crisis like this, is to pick a player who is resolute, who understands the system, who is experienced, who is strong in the tackle and in the mindset, and basically isn't going to let you down. He's like, that's Højbjerg. In this instance, that is Højbjerg. So let's see if he does do that. He says even less. Mark says even less pace in the defence. But this is the thing that you have to weigh up. Mark. You could have pace and have an 18-year-old there, or you can have somebody who's got the nous to control a Premier League football match at Wolves, and that's a big task. So I understand what you're saying in terms of them playing this high line. But we're not going to see them play as high a line as they played against Chelsea. It's a one-off match when you're just trying something to try to catch Chelsea out, see if they're smart enough to try and break it. A lot of the time, Chelsea weren't, to be honest with you. They got away with it in the end, but like it almost worked. So John says not Dyer and Ben Davies. Ben Davies is a possibility. I'm not saying he's not, but it'll be Davies or Højbjerg from what I understand, rather than one of the 18-year-olds. So that's
Emerson Royale, as we saw in the week. But Emerson Royale would come off and he'd come on, and Højbjerg, I think, needed to play or did feature in midfield. Ben Davies, we've seen play centre-back, but only in a 3, really, haven't we? We haven't seen him play centre-back in a 2. Yeah,
obviously. So Doji missing as well. So like Tottenham have got to fill that gap.
Yeah.
And then it's the Maddison role. Who knows what craft we've got now.
Bentancur is back, though, isn't he?
Bentancur
like we saw him come on.
Should have scored against Chelsea. So that's interesting. Giddy says, fun fact, Son has never scored against Wolves in the Premier League.
Oh, it's going to change. It's going to change. Oh, the South Korean player Derby, says Mark. Of course, with Hwang on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that'll be on the big screens, won't it? In Seoul.
You'd like to think so. Spurs are looking to win 3 in a row on the road for the first time since November 2020. 3 years since Spurs won 3 away games in a row, which tells you how quickly Ange Postecoglou has kind of changed the way that we view Tottenham, I guess, going forward. But But yeah, so that's basically where we are with that
Spurs.
game. I would leave it basically.
I guess Spurs was the big one in terms of injury news today, and then Arsenal was the other.
Arsenal's the other, isn't it? Yeah.
Before you update us on Arsenal, in the chat, when we said about time slots, everyone's saying, "Oh, I'm watching in wherever. I'm watching wherever." So I wonder if we can do a poll. I think you can give 4 options on the poll. We can do a poll. Where in the world are you watching from? And I'm just interested to know the split. So let's do the Americas, which covers North and South America, Europe, Africa, and then Asia and Australasia. Because I've just seen someone say at 5 a.m. for them in Australia right now.
Oh, nice. Linus with the big shout here. Thank you, Linus. $4.99. You absolute legend. So much content to catch up on, but had to watch you guys live. Let's go. Mate, really, really appreciate that. Feel free to follow that up with a question if you've got one, and we will answer it for sure. So thank you, mate. We really appreciate you being here for the live.
Unlimited questions for Linus off a $5, mate. Go wild.
For a $5, mate, you can do whatever you want. Well, yes, we are that
God,
cheap.
we're easy.
We are genuinely that cheap. Yeah, so to just talk about Arsenal's situation, obviously we knew that Thomas Partey was going to be out for a while. We don't really care. FPLers, Thomas Partey does not come onto our radar at all.
Georgie pulling those strings as he did in the week. Oh, what a performance. My boy.
Yeah, I bet you enjoyed that. But Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Gabby Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah all in a race to be fit in time for Arsenal against Burnley. Seems like Nketiah's fine, but not sure any of us actually trust him to score. But if we're going to, surely it's against a team like this. So kind of would be tempted. If you wanted to go for a guaranteed Arsenal forward, then Nketiah, I think, will be okay. Saka, we hear all the time. Saka's always unlikely to play and then plays, apart from one time. So I assume he'll be all right. I don't know about the other two. It's a real tough one. Obviously, it means that Martinelli is looking like your best shout to be a guaranteed Arsenal attacker in the team. At the moment, even though I am wildcarding anyway, he's the only Arsenal player I've got as an attacker. And I'll be honest, I would kind of looking to take Martinelli out because of his output. But Burnley, definitely playing. I think that this is a time when maybe Martinelli has to come into the thinking. Saka did hurt his ankle in midweek. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But I would always these days give him the benefit of the doubt. Odegaard has missed, is it 2 games now? Yeah, I think so.
3, I think, if you include the cup game.
3 of the cup game, hip problem. So we really don't know what we're getting from Odegaard because
Havertz is playing the role, isn't he? Trying to.
Yeah, Havertz is trying to. He's trying to fit in. So yeah, that's about where we are with Arsenal right now. Adam says Saka has a miracle healer. It does feel like that, doesn't it, Adam? He's injured in midweek, but not on weekends, it seems like. So yeah, Saka definitely does some good recovery work somehow.
It looks like we've gone in the poll early with our countries and we missed out Africa. So apologies, guys. We know we've got some Africa viewers as well. So the 4 categories are Europe, Africa, Americas, and then Australia and Asia is a joint one. Australia and New Zealand don't need their own category, in my opinion. I mean, guess we've got like 2. Although maybe Gucci is with us again tonight. I know he's in Oz.
Yeah, I mean, Africa's not a small place. We know for a fact a lot of people jumping on here from Africa.
CH says that weird the poll popped up and then closed. I'm guessing our producer realised.
I think we realised. Yeah, I think we realised 19 votes and it was shut because we've missed out Africa. Big oversight there.
We have got Ali Hangarov, guys, in the chat. So as we're talking Arsenal, let's also ask Ali. Ali is FPL Guns, right? So FPL Guns is a name you've seen in the chat. This is Ali Hangarov, who is one of our chasers who won FPL last year and came 215th the season before that. Ali's had a bad start to the season and is looking at being differential at the moment. He is considering a Trossard captain call. He is considering a Matoma captain call. He doesn't own these players yet. He's going to buy them and maybe captain them. So, Ali, I want to know from you, do you think Nketiah or Trossard starts as the 9? And do you think Saka starts? If I was backing those 2 things, Dean, I'd probably say, I think we're probably going to be aligned on this. We both probably think Saka starts. And I think maybe it will be Trossard over Nketiah, given the performance against Sevilla.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is usually trustworthy in terms of performance level. Is he trustworthy in terms of output? I don't know. I don't know if I trust him enough in that sense. So if you're looking at Trossard, a £6.5 million midfielder who could start up front for Arsenal at the weekend, it is definitely one to consider given the way that he played in midweek. Very, very hard to drop him on the back of that performance. And Arsenal's next fixtures are Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, and Luton. So he does well here. He keeps the shirt. So there is that worth bearing in mind. FPL Gun says Trossard is a good short-term punt. And that actually is something that I hadn't considered really for my wild card this week.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because when you're on Wildcard, you can take those short-term punts. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to waste a transfer. I'm bringing Trossard in and then selling him in 3 weeks' time. But that's 2 transfers for me. For you, it's only 1. You've just got to get rid of him in a few weeks. That's fine.
Exactly that. So at that price, I wouldn't be too worried. So I might have a look at that in a little bit and see where we're at. But yeah, I mean, these are the main question marks that everybody. It's a North London dilemma we all face at the moment. It's Tottenham and Arsenal kind of threatening to wreck our game weeks.
Yeah. There's a few questions in the chat for Ali. So cheers, Ali, for getting back to everyone. I think Ali might even be doing a stream tomorrow morning on Fantasy Football Scout around the deadline. So if you're into your deadline streams, make sure you watch Scout tomorrow for Ali's decision on where he does go for his short-term picks or his captaincy. But I know you're looking to play different. And I think this week, we'll talk more about it later, there's so many options for captaincy because Watkins, Saka, Salah, Matoma, any of the Arsenal mids, Trossard, they all have really good home fixtures. Haaland does have a good fixture. Like Chelsea's not a bad fixture. It's not a good one. It's kind of middling at the moment, but it's away from home. And I think we just go, let's back the home player with really good fixtures. And this might be another week we can go, I'm going to bet against Haaland. Although if you're going Haaland, I'm not going to say don't do it. But personally, I'm backing Salah or Watkins as my captain this week.
Yeah, fair enough. Nick says, seems an odd week to wildcard, the week before the international break. Mate, I don't think I can get a team out. I could, but it would be like a B team. I don't know actually if I could get a team out here that's actually going to play. There's a serious risk that only one of my defenders would play.
It's the right time for you, mate.
At a stretch. I mean, I wasn't planning to do this, but needs must. I can't have. I'd be at risk of a terrible game week. And I've got the opportunity to have a great game week. So I'm going to make the most of that chance.
I like that, mate. I think a ton of content creators, which is where this has come from, will tell you international break. Oh no, all the injuries. Name me 3 players in the last international break that came back injured, and then how many of them were in your FPL team. Like, it doesn't happen that much. Like, we may as well go, oh, he's playing in the Champions League, therefore he's going to get loads more injuries. Yeah. Like, players play games, and we pick players in FPL, historically, ones that do get tons of minutes and don't pick up too many injuries. There's a reason why Salah's always been a set and forget, and why we probably swerve, I don't know, Lamella when he was at Spurs. Like, we don't buy Lamella because, Lamella's going to get injured.
And obviously, I'll dodge players. Break, guys. Yeah. No, I mean, I might dodge players perhaps who are renowned for coming back and not playing after the international break. But, most of you wildcarded 2 game weeks ago. And since then, you've lost Maddison, Van der Ven, potentially Saka. Haaland was at risk the other day. It doesn't matter if it's an international game week or it's a game week. Like, injuries happen. And I can't let that hang over me at the moment. I've just got to sort my team out. It's an absolute mess. FPL Guns, just to say what he's talking about at the moment, he's a fan. I don't think any of the Arsenal assets are a must-own at the moment. I look elsewhere. I mean...
For Burnley at home, though, Ali, on a short-term punt...
Surely.
If you're into your stats, their numbers for attacking, they're only the 11th best attack in the league this season so far. If you're into your XG or your big chances, they rank 11th. But defensively, they rank 2nd. So definitely covering Arsenal. Like, we know, we could name before the season started, the best 3 defenses in the league are City, Newcastle and Arsenal. That theme has continued so far with all the underlying numbers, expected goals conceded and all that jazz. They're the 3 best defenses. So Arsenal are in there. But attack has underwhelmed. But then they go and beat Bournemouth by 4 and Sheffield United by how many? Like, was it 5 or 4?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
they are flat track bullies again when the opponent's right, and Burnley is the right opponent for Arsenal at home.
Yeah, they can be for sure. Yeah, saw off Sheffield United 5-0. Obviously, it hasn't always been that convincing for Arsenal this season. I mean, Fulham, we went to the Emirates and we managed to get a point.
Forest the same, I think. Opening day of the season, they struggled, didn't they?
Yeah, but
One goal,
recently it seems to be a little more. I mean, Sevilla in midweek, I mean, it was a very convincing, comfortable win against the Sevilla team. And Sevilla, look, they're not pulling up trees at the moment, and by their standards, they've slipped off. But they're better than Burnley, so
a lot better than Burnley.
Burnley's style of play just isn't working, and they're not changing it. So it's a huge risk that they go to the Emirates and try to play football, because you're not going to win that battle. Arsenal are going to out-football you. So,
what's your view on that, Dean, with the style of play? Because you've watched teams in the Championship come up to the Prem, loads, and you know way more about Championship football than most. I remember Norwich a few years ago being by far the best footballing team in the Championship. They came up to the Prem, they kept their same style of play, and from all the promoted teams, they struggled the most, and they finished, I think, bottom. We might be seeing similar with Burnley. Like, you look at Luton, they haven't got the style of play for the Prem, but they didn't when they were in the Championship either. They've set up the same way, which is hard to beat, and actually they're picking up points. Burnley, like Norwich, and there's a few more examples, there must be, you let us know in the chat, are coming up and maybe a little bit naive to go, we're going to play our own way and we're going to play football. But actually, when you go head to head with Premier League players and you try and play football against them, if you're a load of Championship players, which is what Burnley and Norwich were, then you're going to get beat 9 times out of 10.
You are. And it's very strange that Burnley seem pretty set on being stubborn on this. Fulham, obviously, we came up and we continued to play. I didn't think we would be brave enough to do that.
You had Mitrovic.
But we had Mitrovic, and he was an informed, the guys had just got over 50 goals in a season, and we carried on playing the same way. And that confidence of Mitro got us through. We're still trying to play that way now to some extent. Well, we are, and we can't do it because we haven't got the same confidence, and we haven't got Mitro to finish off the chances. And, Burnley haven't got a Mitrovic. So it's as simple as that, that they are a Championship team playing in the Premier League at the moment. And look, they'll go there and try and treat it like a bit of a cup final, like you do when you go to a big club. But I have to say, I do think that you need Arsenal assets. I'll talk about this in a minute, because when I get to my team, I am going to be cautious with my wild card of picking too many players from the same team, because one thing I really don't like this season is how untrustworthy big teams are in fixtures they're expected to win. And I feel like a lot of people have been caught out. And the reason probably that like a lot of content creators aren't doing as well as they typically would, because you go all in on, say, I don't know, Liverpool going to Luton, and you think, oh, Darwin, great bet. That's happened multiple times across this season for the different big clubs across the season. And it's not working. So I don't think in my wild card I'm going to be picking any more than 2 from any team, because it really can go against you. And I like the idea here of having more of a spread, so that when things go badly, I'm backed up elsewhere.
Interesting. I like that. I can't wait to see your team in the next 10 or so minutes. Guys, the other big news, I guess, from Newcastle is, well, Dan Burn, we know, is a long-term injury. Matt Targett is too. Looks like Botman probably is. He's been in Holland speaking to specialists. Callum Wilson's also a doubt with his tight hamstring. So we could see Gordon number 9. Harvey Barnes, I think, is going to be back soon. But in terms of defenders, Lascelles at 4 million and Livramento at 4.3. These guys are going to get a ton of starts. I've made a transfer this week. We'll show you my team in just a sec as well, so stay tuned for that. But I have brought in a Newcastle defender because I just think both Lascelles and Livramento are going to be really, really good picks. And by the way, in game week 18, which is a game week we should all be looking ahead to, because Man City and Brentford blank. And I think by then I'll be on definitely Mbomo and definitely Haaland, maybe more players from those two teams. You're going to need everyone else in your squad playing, and ideally some with good fixtures. Well, Newcastle play Luton in game week 18. So again, even if you're buying Lascelles for your bench, you're going to need him in your 11. So yeah, the Newcastle, the Arsenal and the Spurs press conferences, I guess, were the main ones.
Yeah.
Dean, I'm desperate to see your wildcard team. I want to show the chat mine. And of course, we've got to do questions and get through the chaser team. So let's crack on with our team.
Come on, let's go. Right. So this is an off my top of my head draft team that I kind of like. I've done 2 versions so far. This was the second one I
Oh,
did.
nice.
The first version didn't have Ollie Watkins in it, and then Ollie Watkins scored last night. He's in the England squad over the international break. I just feel like Ollie Watkins will be an oversight, even though he's playing against Fulham this weekend. It's funny, I actually had both the Fulham goalkeepers, and I didn't have Watkins. I had like a low number attacker. I had someone else in midfield. I can't remember. But I was like, no, I've got to make some changes here. I think I took an Arsenal defender out of the back line and put Raya in goal.
I love the Raya call. I'm gutted I didn't go Raya on my wildcard, mate. Like, there's been no standout goalkeeper this season. May as well go for the one that plays for one of the top 2 defences and is under 5 million. Usually you pay 5.5 for an Arsenal keeper or
Yeah,
a top tier keeper.
He's got Brentford coming up, which is a bit of a problem, but I'm hoping Turner at least gets a run out that week. So that's going to be a slight gamble. That is
a gamble, isn't it?
That is
Because
a
Turner's
gamble.
probably lost his spot, but there's no other 4.0
Might
that
have lost
starts.
But whatever, I'm going with it. Like,
just you take the 0 that week. Like, so often our keepers get 1 or 2 points anyway.
whatever,
2 points.
I can't worry too much about my goalkeeper. I don't care about goalkeepers in this game. But I never thought I'd put together a wildcard and that would be my defence. That's for sure.
Is Mengi I haven't looked at Mengi. Obviously, he's a dead spot, but does he get game time? I don't.
Well, he had form. I only quickly looked. I needed a defender who was cost nothing, and he had some form. So I assume he's been on the pitch.
Mate, if you can find 0.1, you can get Lascelles or Branthwaite.
Yeah, well,
but
I
it's
might
finding
try to do
0.1, which is always the battle on wildcard.
That is quite tough. As I say, this is not set at all. This team, like this is
Just started the last 3.
Me playing around. What Mengi started the last 3?
Yeah, 90 in the last 3.
Mate, I might start him against Man United.
And Bulldog's been starting as well. To be fair, I wonder the only way of saving money on that back line, because I don't think we want to change much to that midfield or attack, is if you can go, instead of Anderson, you go, I don't know, Gahey and save points, or Mitchell, you can then go a Mengi or a Baldock up to a Lascelles, or even Baldock and Mengi could be Lascelles and Branthwaite.
That's true.
2. Yeah, you just got to sacrifice on Anderson, I guess.
Yeah, okay, so that's fine.
But I like it.
Yeah, I mean, people keep saying upgrade the defense. Why?
It's fine to have dead spots as well.
Like, I'm not that bothered about defense this season. Like, I'm really not. I'm just not seeing anyone that I need defensively, and I'd rather just get my points from forwards. And looking at those 8 attacking options, all pretty much from different teams apart from City, I really like it. I just really like it. And I feel like Alvarez, okay, is like on a dip at the moment, but that's not going to continue. So I'm like happy to wait for him to come back out of that. And I'll probably have Alvarez then at a time when everyone else has given up on him, because that's what's going to happen this season. We're going to see dips and rises in Alvarez and Watkins. And yeah, I'm just not fussed about that. Michael says the defense is fine just now, but just say Trent or Trippier are in demand. I don't want Trent or Trippier, to be honest with you. Like I've said all season, I'm not having Trent. Trippier, yeah, maybe, but if I've got another Newcastle defender in there, then that's fine. And for the time being, Livramento is going to be in this team, might even be on the wing. So I'm going to go with that for now. I don't know what I'm expecting from Newcastle. Very leggy in midweek. They're up against it in the Champions League now as well to make it through. I just want to have a bit of fun with my wild card. I don't want to be picking the same players everyone else did. I don't want Trippier. I don't want all the players that I'm expected to pick, especially in defence, because the defence is boring. So I'm just going to pick low-cost ones that play most of the time and put in some, half-decent number of clean sheets. So
I love the double City attack as a differential, because people are put off by City, so they're selling the likes of Alvarez because of the fixtures. But this team is fixture-proof. This is the best team in the league. So that front line's amazing. Palmer will always be your first sub, or Gordon, if the fixtures aren't great for Gordon that week. And then the defence, as we said, like all you need to do is go... And look, Anderson is 5.1 now. Dean's had Anderson a while, hence he'd only be selling him for 4.9.
Yeah.
But let's say you go to Gahey or Mitchell at 4.6, that saves you 0.3. So straight away, you could go with that 0.3. Baldock is Branthwaite, Everton's centre-back, starts every game, and Mengi as Lascelles. straight away you go, that's a pretty strong squad with you only need 3 of those 5 defenders to start each week.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So the back line, like, I'm happy to tinker with that in terms of those kind of price ranges. I saw Craig just say, I don't think you have enough high upside players, mate. I mean, I feel like I do attacking wise.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon, Martinelli, Palmer on pens, Alvarez. Those 4 players, Martinelli, Gordon, Palmer, and Alvarez, I bet no one is watching with more than 2 of them in their team. And they're all good picks. But again, we don't go Martinelli because everyone's got Saka. We don't go Gordon and Palmer because most teams only need 1 5 million mid. We don't go Alvarez now because we've all got Haaland and they've got bad fixtures. But actually, they're all really good picks, those 4. I cannot try and point you in a direction of a different midfielder and attacking lineup. Sure, it's not what I've got. It's probably not what I do on Wildcard, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. And I like the fact it's different. So that attacking 8 is really well set. And then the defense is kind of bit shifting. If you do need 0.1 any point, Turner could go down to Strakosha at 3.9. Sure, he's not starting either, and Flecken's fine. But just because it's 0.1 if you need it.
Yeah, totally. Nuclear says you need points, Dean, not uniqueness.
Nuclear, the troll.
Honestly.
He's remembered that comment we made about Real Madrid once, mate.
I slagged off Real Madrid once. I'm going for points. Look at the top 8. Like, that's what I'm going for. I'm going all out on goals. That's what I'm doing. I've got an Arsenal goalkeeper here. Like, I'm going.
Yeah, it's a great pick.
I'm going for Pitt. I'm going for points. I don't want points off the same players that you're picking, Nuclear. I'm down at 1.7 million in this league. I've got to make up some ground.
Nuclear's at 1.8.
I've got to have some picks along the way here that aren't the same as everybody else. So that's where I'm going here. Like, I need to mix it up a little bit. And having a dead spot up front, which is what I did have. When I had a stronger defence, I had a dead Sheffield United forward. I don't want one of my forwards to be dead, to be honest. I want Ollie Watkins. Like, I want to be watching games in the Premier League and seeing that Ollie Watkins has just scored. That's more fun to me. Not this weekend because he's playing against Fulham, but at least it helps if Fulham lose 2-0 this weekend. Ollie Watkins scores 2. At least I've got something out of it.
Clip that just before he says not this weekend because they're playing Fulham. I love that, mate. Well, look, we look forward to seeing a team when it's locked in. But I think as discussed, like, there is not going to be too many changes in midfield or attack. Maybe a tweak with, I don't know, Turner and Anderson, a Baldock and a Mengi. That those 4 maybe for slight upgrades. But we're not talking about massive differences in your 11. I do think having triple Newcastle, Livramento, Lascelles and Gordon, that double Newcastle defence is something I might move to in a couple of weeks. Because, again, relatively fixture proof, but just an elite defense. It doesn't matter too much that someone like Byrne and Botman have come out because they still, we've seen with Lascelles, he's played the last how many games? They're still keeping clean sheets. Sachin with the super chat. Thank you, mate. If you fancy asking a question, Sachin,
he did just ask one, I think. He did just say something a minute ago. I'm sure he did. I mean, I don't think it was a question. I think it was just a dig at me or something. But ask Dean who his keeper's going to be at. I mean,
that is an issue.
I am very aware that is an issue.
If you could find a 0.2 for Areola, but I don't know.
That was exactly what I tried to do. Like, when I was doing this quickly, I was trying to get to 0.2.
Areola might get 1 point that week.
This is the thing.
Who does Areola play in game week 18? That's the question. Let's have a look. If we think there's a 6-pointer in Areola in game week 18, you find the 0.2. If you don't, you probably just write it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Man United.
6-pointer.
Banker then, cheers, Sachin. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, mate.
You're only the second person to send us a super chat today, so we really appreciate that, mate. Thanks for supporting the channel. And for hitting the like button, guys. I'm glad you're with us this Friday. We've enjoyed that. We love all your input in the chat, as always. CH says, why are you avoiding Matoma? And there is no Brighton in there.
Yeah, I mean, I am very aware of that. And in the other draft that we're not showing here, but I had sent G and the rest of the team, I'm pretty sure I had Matoma in that one.
Yeah. No Watkins, but Matoma. So
I think that's what I did.
That's kind of the compromise, isn't it? Like, Watkins could very easily be a 6-7 million asset. And then you go, Palmer or Gordon can be Matoma. But something has to give.
I think I had Bowen in the other one as well. And I still do like, but I don't get that fussed about Bowen because I don't like West Ham. I don't think that they're very good at the moment, but I
Mm.
still think Bowen's a decent pick. Diaby, obviously, I was throwing around all these names, but
Yeah, you're a Derby
this is
fan,
where I
aren't
am
you?
at the moment, T. I'm not saying this is going to be my team, but
Yeah.
this is what I mean. Nucleus just said, why is Bowen not in there? Is Gordon really that important in the long run?
Bowen
mean,
or Gordon, there's like 2 million between them. That's not like for like.
literally, like, yeah, Bowen is 7.5 mil, and Gordon might be playing up front. Gordon has been brilliant this season, absolutely
There's not much
brilliant.
between the two players, and there is a lot of money between them.
There's really not,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Bomo's one that Sherwin said, and I do look at the draft and go, oh, is there a way I'm getting Bomo in? I don't know who I'd sacrifice. Martinelli can become a Bomo in a couple of weeks if you need to. And I did see a really good comment just a minute ago from, I think it was Mr. Feather.
Yeah.
He mentioned something about there is a world in which Strakosha will be the number one at Brentford. And I do think that's a valid point. And that's why I went Strakosha. Whilst Flecken's playing okay, there is a 3.9 million option that has a chance of being a number one. All the other 3.9 or 4 million assets need an injury, other than Turner and Strakosha. Now, Turner's had his chance, and I think he probably now needs an injury or a really bad run of form by the Greek lad, who's number one. But Strakosha, a few bad performances by Flecken. This is a guy that was playing a lot for Lazio not that long ago. Like, he's a good level keeper. There's not much between Flecken and Strakosha. A little bit like at Palace, they've got Henderson and Johnston. And you know that when one of them has a couple of bad games, they'll probably be out because there's a really good backup there.
Yeah. Just to quickly, why is there an 18 point? What's Anderson done this season that's so much better than Mark Gahey?
Oh, he keeps scoring random out there goals.
He scored that many? Oh,
he
right.
scored, I think, 2 or 3 goals. And with that, he's clocked the 3 bonus probably in those games.
Oh,
so
right. Okay.
he's got 2 goals and an assist. So
that's luck, right?
Yeah, because you can't predict centre-back goals either. I'd say between Anderson and Gahey, there's
save
very
0.5
little.
by having Gahey instead of Anderson.
Oh, can you sell... Well, no, Gay's 4.6. What's your sale price for Anderson? Is it 4.9? That's what we've got on screen. But so it's 0.3 saved. But maybe you can sell him for 5. I don't know. He's 5.1 now. Depends what you can sell him for.
Yeah, well, I've just put in Gahey for Anderson, and it's got me 0.3 back in the bank. So.
Yeah, okay. So that's 0.3.
Yeah, so it opens up. It means that actually I might be able to get. I might be able to do that that goalkeeper thing you were talking about.
Yeah, and go Areola. Then yeah.
I think I can. Yeah, I can. I can do it with the prices that I've got.
It's the Baldock and Mengi upgrades, which I think I'd just throw away that goalkeeper in Gameweek 18 and go. I've got Lascelles and I've got a Branthwaite who are so much better than Baldock and Mengi. Yeah, Anderson is 5.1, but Dean's owned Anderson for a while, hence the selling price, guys, is 4.9. Cameron Starr, our favourite chaser.
Hey, we've got nearly 10 quid in the bank after this show. We're loaded.
We absolutely are. Friday night, mate. He's asked if he thinks Darwin will start. I'm going to go with a yes, but then he won't start in game week 13 because it's South America and the early kickoff for Liverpool. But this week, he didn't start in the week either. I'd be very surprised if Darwin didn't start, guys. I think you're good for a Darwin start there, Cam.
Yeah. Look, Liverpool still have a lot of faith in Darwin, and they think he's going to eventually be a 30-goal striker. So he needs them to keep putting him out there until he can get that confidence that he can become that.
Yeah. We're going to move on to my team. As we do, Mr. Feather says, there is a world where Raya isn't the number one and Ramsdale comes back in. Mr. Feather, I get it. You're right. There is. He needs to be seriously bad, though, and I don't think we're going to see that from a top-quality keeper. If there was a world in which Raya has a few bad games and Ramsdale comes in, he'd already be in. He's had those bad games, and Arteta is clearly, that's his boy. I think there's a good chance Ramsdale will be out even in January, potentially in the summer, because I can't see him starting many Premier League games. It's a set and forget for Raya, I think now. We've seen enough. Oh, just as we come onto my team, there's been a super chat. So we'll answer Mahar's question. Guys, stay with us. We're going to do a captaincy poll in a minute and, of course, the chaser team. Mahar, though, with his super chat, we've got to come to straight away. Saka, Burn and Anderson, the midfielder at Newcastle who's flagged, to Martinelli, Lascelles and Matoma from -4. Oh... Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I don't mind it. I'd prefer Saka to Martinelli even this week, even knowing he's a doubt. I think he'll play. But long term, the fact you can go Saka to Martinelli, that's, gives you $1 million or whatever. and you can get Lascelles and Matoma. I don't hate those moves. I wonder if there's a way you can do it without a -4 and then save the third transfer, but probably
I'm going to
not.
say, do you need to do 3? But I guess to get it all through,
He
then you
needs
need
them
to
all,
take the
doesn't he?
-4. -4 is not the end of the world at all. Like, it's really not, to have those 3 assets coming in for a while.
And Lascelles, like this is links to my team. Lascelles has got a very good chance of a clean sheet this week. Like, I think, and the fixtures there, I think, are slightly wrong for Lascelles. He's got Bournemouth this week. So instead of Arsenal, Bournemouth, Chelsea, I think it's Bournemouth, Chelsea. It's just one fixture back. Just on that player, all the other fixtures, I think, are pretty good and accurate. So Lascelles versus Bournemouth or Tsimikas versus Brentford. Usually I'd go Tsimikas because there's some upside there. But given how he played in the week and that he was hooked, we have seen him also come off around the 60-minute mark. There is a chance that 1, he doesn't start and comes on for a 1-pointer, or 2, he starts and comes off early. Lascelles, I know, is getting 90 minutes, but I know the ceiling with Lascelles is 6. I don't expect to get bonus or goals. With Tsimikas, the ceiling is probably 6, but it could be 10.
Yeah, no.
So what do you think he starts? Because he had a shocker in the week. He came off at half time against Toulouse.
I think he'll start.
Do you?
I think he'll start. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
it's like,
I'm really torn. I'm going to see if Klopp was asked about him today. Probably wasn't asked because he's not a big enough game player. But...
yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, that was a terrible performance from everyone in midweek. Like,
it was.
But then they've had 2 in a row now. I don't know what to read into like Liverpool's week, really. Like, tough one.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go to Lascelles. I might have that as a last-minute call in the morning. Let us know what you think in the chat. Would you start Tsimikas or Lascelles? This might be something that comes up for the Chaser team around Tsimikas. In terms of where I'm at elsewhere, you can see my team on screen. We don't need to talk about it in too much detail, but what we can talk about is captaincy, and this will set us up nicely for the Chaser team because we're going to... Lascelles has got a chance, but when we talk about ceiling, we're going... the majority of the time, what's his ceiling? Like, he can go and get a 15-pointer, of course he can, but a standard ceiling for Lascelles is 6, and a standard ceiling for Tsimikas could be a little bit higher. Chatsport says bench him. Linus, who gave us a super chat, says bench Tsimikas. Resting Pilgrim says Lascelles all day long. A lot of you feel like you probably want me to start Lascelles, and maybe I do go there. I am keeping Tsimikas, by the way, because whilst I don't think he'll start the Man City game, I expect Gomez to play that one. After that, Tsimikas has 3 really good fixtures, and I think he'll start Fulham. I think he's got a good chance of starting Sheffield United, Palace, Man United. That's 4 games. He'll start 3 of them, I think. And with that in mind, I want him in my team because I considered selling him this week. I sold Branthwaite, who I really like, just to get the sales because I had the same money. But yeah,
that's true.
What do you reckon for captaincy, Dean? At the moment, the armband's on Salah. I'm between Salah and Watkins. Haaland's a good option. You could argue Son, Matoma, Saka, Diaby. All of those players are good options this week. Where's your head at? Salah feels the most reliable at home, but Brentford are no mugs, and they always give the opposition, when they're a top team, issues.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick with Haaland. I don't think there's an obvious pick here, to be honest with you. I know that Salah does look, as we're looking at it now, and you see Salah home Brentford, Haaland away Chelsea, that straight away makes you want to pick Salah. I'm not sure that there's that much to actually read into it, though. Like, is Chelsea away that much of a worse fixture for Man City than the Brentford home one for Liverpool? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't trust Chelsea. Like, obviously, like, they won 4-1, but Tottenham with 9 men almost like snatched a point against them. And Haaland would probably have buried himself both the chances that Tottenham had in that stage of the game. So, I've said before that I don't want to go against Haaland anymore. And I think I'm going to have to stick to that, to be honest. I think my safety net going forward is just going to be that I don't lose faith in Haaland. He had a good midweek too. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with him. But if I was to go away from Haaland, then it's Salah, of course it is. Although the Toma is interesting. I'm not going to say it's not, because that definitely is one that's it's a gamble, but it's a Sheffield United gamble. Like, that's not too bad.
Guys, let us know. We'll do a poll. This is for who are you captaining this game week. We'll do one for the Chaser team in a minute. We're going to give you 4 options. Salah, Haaland, obviously, but we'll chuck Watkins and Saka in there as well. Let's have a look. The poll is up. So who are you captaining this week as things stand? I'm on Mo Salah, so I'm going to hit that box. I think I'm going to go Salah. Yeah. I watched all of the Aston Villa game last night. What was I doing? Like, it was so Thursday night Conference League. Like, that's my night off. But I was just wanting to get a feel for how Villa are playing, and it was difficult because there was no Douglas Luiz, there was no Matty Cash, Zaniolo didn't start, and the 3 of them all came on, and when they needed to, and Watkins did get the late goal, but Watkins played 90, and I was thinking, if Watkins plays 45 and scores a couple early, and Villa are flying, then maybe I'll go there. But because what Aston Villa have scored, they average 4 goals a game at home in the Premier League this season. They've scored 20 goals at home from 5 games. That's better than anyone. Their home form is better than anyone. But Fulham can turn up and put good defensive performances in. In fact, Fulham often don't get battered, do they? So I could see Salah having a big win, although I rate Brentford. So it's a tough one, but I'm definitely on those 2. The biggest scoreline, I think, could be at Brighton. But the problem with Matoma is at Brighton, there's a huge share of the points. Like, that's
the problem, isn't it? You don't know who's going to score.
It could be anyone.
Points.
Like, I do think Matoma will get 90, unlike the other attackers, but it's the share of points.
I don't know. Like, wow, go on.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, I just noticed Sachin's question followed with a super chat. So I don't want to keep you waiting, seeing as you're chucking money at us, Sachin. Thank you. What do you think to his backline, Dean? It's similar to mine with Tsimikas, Gabriel Cash, but he's still got Porro and Taylor on the bench. Should he roll that, or should he go Lascelles or Liver in for one of the above? Personally, I would, if you've got the money, I would go Taylor out, Livramento in, or I'd consider selling Porro and go Livramento in. Although, I don't know, because only if you're going to start them over Tsimikas. That's the question. A bit like me, I had to make the transfer this week because I had 2 and I was going to lose it. You've only got 1 transfer, so maybe I would just roll, and then next week you can decide who's the better pick, Lascelles or Livramento, because you probably want to see Livramento start.
I don't think I would bother. I'd even be tempted to start Porro over Tsimikas, to be honest, but that's just personal preference, and I think Porro is good. But honestly, I'd roll that. Like, international break, to come back out of that with 2 transfers, I don't feel like you're going to gain enough from this. That would be my instinct.
Yeah, I think you're right. Wait a week, and then you know if Livramento is like what he's giving you. I personally think Livramento is worth the extra if you can find it. I just couldn't find it.
Porro's out. I didn't realise that, to be fair.
Okay, I'd still though.
He can't be out. Can he? How was Tottenham injured or something? He can't be out.
That's where Emerson Royale's not going to be centre back. He's going to be needed right back. And Odoji's out. God, that would be bad. Captaincy, Salah has got 41% of the vote. 29% of you are going Haaland. 24%, 1 in 4 of you are looking at Watkins. CH gave Saka a vote. Just why not? Because someone needed to. Guys, we've still got enough time to have a good look at the Chaser team. So let's move on to that. Let's get to 100 likes if we can. Can we, team? Hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream.
Yeah, we're nearly there. Who's winning the captaincy vote at the moment?
Salah on 39.
Salah's smashing it. I've got a differential again in Haaland. Nice.
There you go. 0.5 in the bank for the Chasers. Do we want to roll the transfer or use a transfer?
Roll it.
I can't see where we would need a transfer. Like, none of those players stink of I need to sell. There'll be some that say we need to sell Tsimikas, but we don't need to sell Tsimikas. Let's give him another week, surely. And Evor Khan, we did realise there's the wrong fixtures on the sales. Maybe you have just joined. I did mention that earlier. Let's do a quick poll. Transfer or no transfer, or transfer or roll. We'll give you those 2 options. A lot of the chat is saying roll it, but we need to confirm that with a vote. Some might want to confirm it. If they say we need a transfer, we'll give you options and we'll say, are you wanting us to sell Tsimikas, Saka, or maybe you want to sell Areola? I don't know. We haven't got enough to get to Raya, but
We need. Oh, we're on 99 likes. Come on, people. We're nearly in that algorithm. Come on. We're
Mine
almost
only
there.
says 98. You must be like 10 seconds
I
ahead of me or
I
something.
just suddenly, when I was on 92, and I just saw that it suddenly sprung up to 99. We're probably there by now. Thank you, everyone, for your likes. It does help us, apparently. Yeah, let's see about this vote.
I'm
I
gonna
would
say this is a roll week.
I think it's a roll week. I really do.
The
Yeah.
only annoying thing for us is I know our producer really wanted to make a transfer this week, but and it is his team. But if you guys are voting roll, that's fine.
He wanted free hit, is what he wanted. He wanted.
He got his wishes last week with the Darwin captaincy, so yeah, it doesn't matter if this week you guys go for roll. He'll understand. The next poll is going to have to be who to bench as CH, and I guess that is a big question. So let's quickly do the benching one. We are going to be rolling our transfer. So at the moment, we need to bench one of those 8 attackers. So is it going to be Gordon or Alvarez? I'm going to just put those 2 up because I can't see anyone voting Matoma or Saka or Darwin with those fixtures. And I mean, yeah. So let's do the vote. Do you want to bench Gordon or Alvarez? It's a tough one. Whoever you choose will be sub number 1, guys. That is confirmed. We will do sub number 1, Gordon or Alvarez.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if it's not too late, chuck a third name in there just for the sake of it. Let's just go with 2. It has to be one of these 2.
Yeah.
Who are you voting for here, Dean? I think I'd probably want to start Gordon with that fixture.
Yeah, I've said I would bench Alvarez, even though I won't be doing it in my own team. But I think given the lineup here, that's what I would be looking to do.
Yeah. The chat agree.
Yeah, he's just smashing it. Gordon to start, Alvarez on the bench. That makes sense. It's tricky though again because it's Man City who are going to go to Chelsea and win.
No. Yeah, they are.
Newcastle.
But it's not going to be a big scoreline, is it?
I don't know, mate, because I don't understand football. I don't understand football anymore. The week of football we've just watched, I don't get it, mate. I mean, did you think Chelsea were going to beat Tottenham 4-1? No, you didn't. Like VAR, anything can happen. Chelsea could be down to 9 men after 10 minutes, the way things are going. So who knows? The game has actually become more of a lottery, I feel like, than ever before. It's really, really difficult to have any assurances over what you're doing.
Because crazy. I mean, the Man United Copenhagen game in the week is prime example.
That's like a 2-0. I was literally I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go and watch Arsenal Sevilla for a bit, and it's turn back over, and suddenly it's 2-2, and you're like, what?
Guys, we're going to have to do captaincy. We're not going to vote for defender benchings. It's you have to start Cash, Trippier, and Gabriel this week, in my opinion. Maybe there would have been a vote if we weren't sure about Tsimikas starting, but knowing you guys have all told me to bench Tsimikas, we're going to have Alvarez first sub, Tsimikas second sub, and Branthwaite third sub. So that's locked in, confirmed. We're obviously starting Areola. It's going to be a 3-5-2. But who do we captain? It's the big one. Linus, seeing as you put a super chat in, I wouldn't usually put Gordon and Matoma in a poll when we can only put 4 names, which have to include Salah, Darwin, Watkins, and Saka, don't they? I don't know if we can include Gordon or Matoma.
I mean, they're not going to win the vote, are they?
No, they're not going to win the vote.
They're not going to win the vote.
Oh, CH says that don't put Saka in. Okay, let's do Salah, Darwin,
we shouldn't captain Saka anyway because he's a doubt. So
Salah, Darwin, Watkins, and then Matoma.
Yeah.
I mean, Ali Hangarov, world champion, is thinking about captaining Matoma.
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, Ali, let us know if you're still in the chat. FPL Guns, who won FPL last year. If you are just tuning in, this is our Chaser team. That's your team. You're making the decisions this week for your team. It's a draft without Haaland. FPL Freddy says Darwin. We did go Darwin last week, guys, and you were robbed, Chasers. It should have been Darwin. It was the right call, but he blanked. He missed 3 big chances against Luton. He had the best numbers in terms of underlying data over Haaland, over Salah. Darwin was a perfectly good call last week. You did the right thing by trying to have fun with captaincy. So I urge you this week, guys, don't necessarily vote for who you're captaining. Vote for who you want to captain in your second team. This is your second team. You've got a chance to go a bit different if you want to. Yeah. Who are you voting for, Dean? I'm going to go Darwin.
I went Matoma because I want him to
Oh,
win
I'll go
this.
Matoma as well then.
Matoma's going to win.
Oh my God, I've just gone Matoma as well. Yeah, 39%. Come on, Matoma.
Yeah, I mean, that's closed as well because Matoma was on like 45% a minute ago. Like Salah's making a bit of a fight back, but
Oh, boo.
I don't know if he's going to make it. I think there feels enough momentum for Matoma to keep coming back that he's going to get the armband, and that is a proper differential. So no Haaland and Matoma as captain.
That could be huge for the Chasers this week. We could be looking at a green arrow of 1 million.
Oh my goodness! Like truly would be.
Ideally, we want to
Mark
get to
says, I'll
100
laugh if
votes,
Matoma
guys.
doesn't start. Yeah, who do we want as vice captain?
We might have to lock that off because we've just hit the hour. We usually wait to 90, 100 votes, but I think
Well, we're on
can lock
82,
that up.
and it's over a 10% sway now. So Matoma is captain.
Wicked. All right, let's do that. And Salah is therefore the vice who got the second. Was second in the votes. Guys, that's been awesome and so much fun. There's around 300 of you watching. If you're new around here, do subscribe. Over 100 of you have hit the like button, so we really appreciate that. We will be back during the international break at some point. We'll have a couple of streams, of course, before the next deadline. Not entirely sure on which days yet. So make sure you're setting those notifications and you're following Chasing Green Arrows on Instagram and on Twitter because they always tweet or post on Insta a good few hours before we go live to give you guys a little bit of notice. So have a good game week. Dean, good luck in your wildcard, mate.
Cheers, mate. Yeah.
Look forward to seeing that one. Make sure you share it in our group so we can see it as soon as that deadline's passed. And for now, guys, he's been Dean, I've been Gianni. You lot have been incredible tonight. You're our lovely chasers that we love to see so active in the chat as always. Thank you for watching. We've been Chasing Green Arrows. Good night.